Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another review. This is another paid request. This time for cantu. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested, requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics, randomness, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a Steve from LA from 1996. Now, I have a bit of a weird story with this. When I first saw this film, it was on VHS, and I did not know it was a sequel. I don't know, I never knew there was an Estate from New York. I didn't grow up with cable. It was at the video stores I went to. We didn't have video stores. We had you rent them at the gas station, or if we drove 40 or so miles to the decent sized town, there was a grocery store called Hy-Vee, and they would have VHS movies to rent. They didn't have Estate from New York, so never heard of it, never knew of it. And so Estate from LA, I'm like, okay, cool. And I knew Caruso because I had seen Tango and Cash, which I enjoyed. I think I had seen Backdraft, maybe a few others. I'm like, wow, this looks cool. And I enjoyed it. And then what happened to others, it was the opposite of me. I saw Steve from New York, and I was disappointed because I went, wow, this just kind of seems like the same movie. But I'm like, well, that's not that movie's fault. It was first. And so there was a time I liked Steve from LA more than New York. But as years went, that shifted, and I liked Steve from New York more as I grew older, because I think Steve from New York, despite being an older film, in a way it looks better because it doesn't have a lot of awful dated CGI in it. And I think the villain, Isaac Hayes, is much better. I like the dark, gritty look of New York. It has a great soundtrack, though. Great soundtrack, thanks to John Carpenter. And I liked a lot of the actors in this, but I would say I like the characters a bit more in Estate from New York, because Cabby seemed more endearing. I felt more for Adrienne Barbeau compared to like Pam Grier in this one. I felt sorry, Adrienne Barbeau, her last stand, I felt bad. Oh, don't do that. But I get why she did, and you just see Snake Plissken understood why she did it. So I felt for the characters a bit more in Estate from New York, and like I said, the look of the film, and in a way that holds up better. Now, Estate from LA, I still do enjoy the film, though. I like the music. I love the main theme. I love the rework of the theme. But down, 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 now, now. I think Shirley Walker worked on it, and forgive me if I'm wrong, didn't she also work on Batman the Animated Series music? But it has that John Carpenter feel to this as well. But I do like the music. And the other sort of that Western motif throughout. So I do rather like the score in this. Caruso, I think, does another wonderful job as Steve Buscemi. I think he fit the role well. He went into it and did not miss a beat. I mean, he looked almost the same as he did in 1981, and this was 96. And the outfit, the get-up, the eye patch, the delivery, that Eastwood, call me Snake. Well, we said it a team, and all but one were killed. Hell of a team. Or when he talks about the president's daughter, that's too bad. Gotta smoke. Like, Caruso fit well, and I wish we could have gotten a third Snake Plissken film. There was talks of Ghosts of Mars being a Snake Plissken film, And instead of Ice Cube, it was supposed to be Kurt Russell. But sadly, this film bombed badly. I mean, why wasn't that the sequel? I mean, I liked this film, but why wasn't the sequel Escape from Mars, and it's Kurt Russell kicking the shit out of alien, even if they're ghost aliens? Like, come on, Kurt Russell kicking the shit out of them, Snake Plissken, poo, 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 poo. That'd be awesome. That'd be cool. Why didn't that be the second film? And I don't hate Ghost of Mars. I liked it. It's flawed. It is flawed, but I like Ghost of Mars. I do. I never hated Ghost of Mars. I mean, the few John Carpenter films I hated was The Ward, Dark Star, and I'm not really a fan of Memoirs of Invisible Man. And I'm not really big on his Masters of Horror, like Cigarette Burns. They're there, but I'm not. They're not stuff I rewatch. My favorite John Carpenter films is The Thing, and Big Trouble in Little China, Assault on Precinct 13, They Live. Those are up there. And this does have a good cast. I mean, in the government group, you got Stacy Keach, who I'm a big fan of. Love the film he was in called Road Games. Stacy Keach does a good job. You have Cliff Robertson, who would tell Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man about responsibility, as Uncle Ben in that. He plays the president. I don't want to miss anybody, sorry. See, Steve Buscemi on the island. Just by this point, LA has become an island because of an earthquake, and criminals are sent there, and they're not allowed to come back ever. And this very dystopian future. And it's a prison, like New York was a prison. Steve Buscemi is mapped to the stars Eddie. Sense of humor, comedic relief character. Peter Fonda's in there as an old surfer dude. I thought that was fun. I thought Peter Fonda did a good job. Robert Carradine, who had worked with John Carpenter in Body Bags. He was in the first part of that, the gas station story. And Robert Carradine was the star of Revenge of the Nerds. I'm talking to you, shithead! As Snake Plissken just shoots the shit out. Pam Grier shows up much later in the film. I do like the cast. I mean, George Corface is the villain. I watch him again. I don't hate him, watch him again. But I'm kind of, But he's no Isaac Hayes. And I don't know whatever happened to that actor, what he's done since. He's kind of, You know, I'm kind of indifferent. I don't love him. I don't hate him. He didn't bother me one way or another, but he didn't stand out either. Bruce Campbell makes an appearance as the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills. What was her name? She was in Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2. Valeria, I forget her last name. She played the love interest of Charlie Sheen in Hot Shots 1 and 2. She's in this. Now, I do like the film because I liked her Russell Snake Plissken. I love the music. I love the soundtrack. I even like White Zombie, the one. Run, baby, run away. Run, baby, run, escape from L.A. I remember listening to that all the time. I had the CD of this. And that's the song I would listen to all the time. Yeah, I am the one. To the world and the devil's son. Yeah, yeah. Because I did grow up liking White Zombie, the band. More Human Than Human, this one. Super Beast, Beat the Creeper. That was more in like Rob Zombie days. And there's a lot of scenes I enjoy. You know, Snake being a badass, his soft, subtle delivery of lines. Gotta smoke, you know. When he shoots the shit out of Robert Carradine, the bit with the people are so off kilter with facelifts and plastic surgery that their skin is falling apart. So they get people and get their skin to fix themselves up. And Bruce Campbell leads this weird cult of people. And he's the Surgeon General, ready to do some business on Snake. I thought that whole idea was cool. I kind of wish there was more of that. Like I said, the cast, the pacing I thought stayed pretty quick. I do enjoy the ending. I thought the ending was, in a weird way, fitting. Welcome to the human race. Bangkok rules. No one draws until this hits the ground. Throws it. And then it hits. Draw. I love that. Now we get to the problems. And I can see why people don't like the film. I can see. I do like it, but number one, the effects are horrible. I can't deny that. The effects are horrible. The CGI is horrible. The submarine bit. I mean, the fucking hang glider thing in Escape from New York in 1981 looks better than the submarine going through. It just looks terrible. It looks terrible. And there's the surfing bit. That looked terrible too. That just looked terrible too. The... How do I put it? The CGI was horrible. This is why I wish the filmmakers around that time had not been so gun-ho on the CGI train. Like, no way, you got all these tricks, you got all of this stuff, where you got all this model work and matte paintings and miniatures. Don't throw all that away for CG. This CG was not the right tool for a lot of these movies at this point in time. Like Reptile and Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat 95. But Reptile should have just been an animatronic creature. With how little time that thing showed up, it could have been an animatronic creature. I mean, if years before you had Yoshi in Super Mario Bros. The movie that looked like a real little dinosaur, it could have been something like that, but much more uglier and vicious. I mean, what, like Liu Kang grabs it, and it's not like it did a whole lot. So, in retrospect, you wish they had done stuff differently. And also the storyline. I don't understand why, in retrospect, you would do a sequel that literally is a remake of the first. Evil Dead 2, there's reasons where they could not get like some of the footage they wanted, and they don't reshoot some stuff, and they're like, well, the first couple minutes will be the reshoot, and then it's its own movie after that first 10 minutes. After that, well, 5-10 minutes, then it's its own movie. This does feel like a remake of the first, where it's, yet again, Snake Plissken's caught, yet again, it references something that happened that we didn't see, in this place, Cleveland, or whatever. Or was that the first movie, Cleveland? I can't remember. See, that's what I mean. I can't remember. And then he talks to someone, whether it be Stacy Keach or in the first one, Lee Van Cleef. They say there's a virus in him. He's got to go in and rescue someone, come back. Not only do you have to do it's the specific thing that the person has. And the first one rescued the president as well, and this one, well, it's more like, well, don't rescue her, but yeah, go in, do that, come back. The villain runs the whole town. You have Cabby in the first, who sort of is sense of humor, comic relief. Here, it's Steve Buscemi. You even have a girl that helps Snake Plissken, but she did drive into the sewers in the first film. Here, it's Valeria, who helps him out a bit. Then she gets shot. Then you have you have the bit where there's a battle. In the first film, it was a one-on-one barbarian battle. Here it's playing basketball, which I always thought was weird. I always thought it was a weird choice. Like, why basketball? That's why I wish there was a commentary. And from what I understand, John Carpenter is willing to do it. Because I read somewhere he likes this more than the first. He's like, it's 10 times better than the first. I like to hear why. But he won't do it without Kurt Russell. I think when that Blu-ray came out, Kurt Russell was doing those Santa movies. I believe so. Because he did the commentary for Breakdown. So he's willing to do a commentary. And that's a great commentary, Breakdown. I guarantee he'd be willing to talk with John Carpenter. So, I'm like, how about you just wait and make it happen? Kurt, we want you to do a commentary, John Carpenter. Or, you know what, you guys get together, do a commentary and release it on YouTube or something. I don't know. I hate that we don't have a commentary for that film. I would love to hear those two riffing together again and just explain the thought process. This is one of the films I want to hear the most about. Because I want to hear, were there other ideas? Were there other scripts before this? Why did he make it so much like a remake? Why was it so similar? Why did he go that route? Do you think that was a mistake? What does Kurt Russell think? You never hear anyone ask him about Steve from L.A. I want to hear what Kurt Russell has to feel about Steve from L.A. What was the idea for Steve from Earth? Which I would love to have seen. But yeah, like, fans of the first one saw this and went, this feels so deja vu, and I guess that was John Carpenter's point, but I don't think the audience really wanted that. They felt it was too similar. And again, the effects, I don't know how people thought the effects at the time, but they definitely don't hold up. I guess maybe it being so similar, John Carpenter wanted to do that to try to swerve people. Because, hey, this is so familiar, so you think you know what's going to happen. Like, oh, you find out the toxin was actually fake. Or, oh, Stacy Keach knows that Kurt Russell's character is going to screw them over. And you think, oh, Snake Plissken didn't think about that, but he did. That's where you get the ending, which I love. Where he has the thing, and the weapon is this EMP that will get rid of all the electricity on Earth. Bring people back to the Stone Ages. If I do this, they win or you win. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I told you should wish that I didn't make it back. Snake, don't do it. The name's Plissken. I love that ending. Now, granted, does that mean Snake Plissken murdered a lot of people? Because wouldn't there probably be a lot of people in planes that just went... So I'm just wondering. Because people would have been in planes, right? Helicopters and planes. Does that mean the plane, kind of like Die Hard 2, like... So did Snake Plissken just murder a lot of people? What about people in hospitals on life support? Are they dead too? So now I think about, like, how many people did Snake Plissken just murder? How many did he just murder? I don't know if they really thought this through. Because again, if anyone's in life support or in a plane, they're fucked and they're dead. And yeah, I don't think they really thought that through. But I will admit, the first time I saw it, I didn't think about that. But I'm like, watch it again, I'm like, wait a minute. How many people did he murder just now? But I still like the idea of the ending. Just the match. Welcome to the human race. I get the notion, because hell, I feel that notion a lot nowadays. Although to be fair, I like my electricity, I like my internet, so, well, I don't like, but I like the internet in general, the idea, so. But I did understand that notion, I did understand that frustration, I did understand that you just want to break it all down. And you looked at the government in this movie, and you could see a lot of similarities to the government in today. And that's the sad thing. You look at the government in this movie, and a lot of John Carpenter films, and again the government today, and there's not a lot of differences, sadly. I mean, the president in this is hiding under a desk and not really the most level-headed guy, and gee, that sounds familiar. Sounds like the guy that's doing stuff right now. We don't know shit. That's why you're paying double for groceries. Because Joe Biden's a fucking idiot. Fuck him. He's an asshole. But anyway. Like I said, I do wish there's more differentiation. It's not a fucking word. Differentiating between the first and this one. I think more people would have warmed up to it if there was, because it feels like a waste of the Snake Plissken character that you want to see this character, and then he goes to adventure, but then the adventure seems almost like the same we just saw. And it's like, man, there's only one more shot you had of Snake Plissken, and all the different avenues, again, like Escape from Earth, or the Ghost of Mars idea, or like all this other stuff you could have done it. And it's like, I like the movie, it's fun, it's entertaining, I like the cast, for the most part. Like, Pam Grier does fine, Bruce Campbell, I wish he was in it more. Peter Fonda is fun. The effects are pretty bad, but some of the action bits are fine, like the motorcycle bit, where he's going up the chain, where he gets some people off a motorcycle, and he's like shooting people with a shotgun, and he gets people to shoot themselves. He gets on pickup truck, hits someone, goes back. That was cool. Like this, you get some really cool badass moments with Snake. Him find the bad guy, beating the shit out of him with his fists. But yeah, that Blu-ray, I was disappointed in. I wish there was more to that Blu-ray. Because I got the Blu-ray over there. I didn't think with the squeaky chair. Let's see, yeah, it's all the way down there, so I don't want the whole thing to fall on me. I didn't think about getting that, but yeah, Steve Buscemi, I still have fun. I still have entertainment with it. Kurt Russell is still awesome as Snake Plissken. He helps a lot in my enjoyment in the movie. He really does. But again, Escape from New York is a better put together picture in terms of tone, look, and it being the first was more fresh in fairness. But yeah, I do like that song at the end. I do like quite a bit of the kick-ass moments Snake Plissken has. Although again, I'm like, why is it basketball? I guess they're like trying to be maybe it's just trying to be a parody of the first one. Maybe that's what John Carpenter's going for, like a parody of the first movie. That's why it's basketball, because something that's ridiculous. And it's L.A., and L.A.'s there's a lot of fates. A lot of fakery, a lot of fake shit, fakes. Learn how to talk right, like, because of a lot of fake shit, and it's like a parody of itself compared to New York. Maybe that's what it is. A lot of false Hollywood idols, and it does have a bit of sense of humor. I mean, the beginning when Kurt Russell's going through the facility, Stacy Keach is talking to him. There's different signs, and how, what was it? There was, if you wish to be electrocuted on the premises, and literally walk by, people would be electrocuted right in this fucking hallway. So like I said, even the whole battle at the end took place at Disney. They just couldn't call it Disney. You know, with the hang gliders, they call it, what, the Magic Kingdom or something, but that thing in Europe killed them. Euro Disney. Wish it did, because I wish Disney was gone now. But, like, Disney is the place where the bad guys are at. Like, that's the bad guy headquarters, is Disney at the end. And that just, in a way, seems fitting in today's age. So, like, I do think there is some fun ideas and entertaining action beats. And the cast work well. Like, Steve Buscemi is fun. He's having a ball. And Kurt Russell's a badass. Stacy Keach I enjoy. You know, even the girl who played the president's daughter was fine. I mean, I've seen much worse. Like I said, I love the musical score. I think wonderful job on that. So it's a flawed film. It's not. It probably will not be in my top 10 John Carpenter. Because, like I said, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, and Assault on Precinct 13 would be up there. And then They Live would be up there. Escape from New York would be up there. I like The Fog. I like John Carpenter's Vampires. I like Prince of Darkness. Starman, I would put Starman above it. Yeah, I mean, but I don't think it's awful like a lot of people make it out to be too. Again, I can see where they're coming from, but there's enough for me to get enjoyment out of it. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.